Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and for today I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys on the top 60. It's a big list, I know. The top 60 free-to-play characters that don't need uniforms to be useful if you are a new or intermediate player, especially if you are free to play. Now, what inspired this video is because I recently created a free-to-play account just because I wanted to see what it was like for new players coming in after the 6-year anniversary of the game, how long it would take them to get to World Boss Legend, and how long it would take them to be able to complete all 35 floors of Shadowland. Right, the major PvE content, because for better or worse, Marvel Future Fight is a PvE game primarily, but we do have some PvP as well. So as a free-to-play player, you always have to keep in mind that you're not going to get a surplus of crystals. Right now, where the game is at, the Future Fight team has actually done a very good job at making available to you a lot of premium materials like CCF, Titan Component Pack, Essence of Dimension, being able to get CTPs from multiple different avenues, story mode, dispatch missions, etc. Free chests if you log in every single day for 28 days via the check-in event right here, right? However, the one thing they have not improved yet, and I would like to see them do that in this 6th year of Marvel Future Fight, is making it more free-to-play friendly when it comes to getting uniforms for characters, right? That's the one thing that we're still struggling with in this game. There's just not enough crystals to earn if you are a free-to-play player, or if you spend a little bit of money, like you're getting like a Stark stash every month, and that's about it. Because every single month these days, we're looking at anywhere from 4 to like 6 new uniforms, which that's like 4,000 plus crystals every single month. So it's really hard for new players to keep up with that kind of expenditure, or intermediate if they don't have a big wallet, right? So what I want to do for today is give you guys some options that you could look towards to help you get through the first 30 stages of Shadowland, because I myself, I'm in a similar situation on my free-to-play account. So I went through my roster of 241 different characters, and I basically picked out the ones that I felt would be the most useful to me without a uniform. And a lot of these characters I have used before without uniforms on my whale account, the account that I'm on right now, so I know with 100% certainty that they are viable and they can clear content. That being said, let's dive right into it. Let me take off the uniform of Captain America and essentially just equip him with the uniform that they're going to give you. I want to keep these characters exactly how you would have them on your new account. All right, so let's dive right into it. The first one on the list is Storm. Storm is actually really good for Shadowland because of the fact that she has a lot of crowd control. Because she's just constantly spamming her tornadoes and lightning attacks, she does really well at CCing opponents in Shadowland. And even at like 4 stars, I was able to clear content with her years ago. So Storm, definitely highly recommended. As soon as you start playing the game, go through the Rise of the X-Men Epic Quest and get access to Storm. Even at 4 stars, she will be able to clear content for you because you just essentially just stun lock the enemies until they die. Rogue, very good character even without her uniform if you are on a budget. The reason why I'm giving you guys so many options, a whopping 60, is because some of these characters will take you time to farm because you cannot get them from bioselectors. And also, if you are free to play, you do not have an abundance of bioselectors, so your primary ways of getting these characters will come down to coming into the store every single day, 24 hours, and then popping open this free hero chest that they give you every single day. For me, since I've spent money on the game, I get this twice a day. This is basically going to be your primary way of getting characters, and you don't get to choose which characters you get when. So this list is simply just to help you out so that when you do get one of the characters that I'm mentioning here, you know they have value, you know they can do something. Captain America, they're going to give you a tier 2 once you clear the story. They're also going to give you this uniform. Sharon Rogers, you will get from completing the Shield Academy. Well, you don't have to complete it, actually. Once you get far enough, you get her at tier 2, so that's really, really helpful. Iron Man story. And then Star-Lord I put on this list because you're going to need him regardless. So if you get him, try to get him up as quickly as you can because he has a good leadership for blast types, and there's a lot of blast characters in the game. Most of the meta characters are blast types, but you're going to need him for the Beta Ray build epic quest if you care about getting Beta Ray. So just keep that in mind, and he's a really good leadership early on. Black Widow, they give you, but they give you her in this uniform, and from the uniforms that they give you for free as a new player, this one I found to be the best on my free-to-play account, and I did find it to be the best on my whale account, so I know for sure that this one is a banger if you don't have anything else for her. Just keep in mind. Loki, in my opinion, still a very useful character if you're free to play. I also tried to balance out this list by choosing a lot of like different classes, so universal, speed, combat, etc. I didn't want to have like 30 combat characters and then only have like 1 or 2 universals, right? I tried my best to find the good ones, like the gems. Loki, still really good if you're a new player. Thor, you're not gonna have that uniform, you're gonna have this base kit. He's not as good as the other Avengers, but he can still do stuff, okay? And you get him for free from the legendary battle. Dr. Octopus, if you pull this guy, he's actually really good for Shadowland. I've used him just like this to clear content, and I will be using him just like this to clear Shadowland. Because the sooner you're able to clear Shadowland, the sooner you can get to World Boss Ultimate and World Boss Legend if you are a new player. Why? Because you'll get access to more bios every single week. You'll get access to more guaranteed gold drops every single week. Because if you are a new player, you cannot rely on co-op. You cannot rely on these co-op missions. I have remembered the free-to-play struggle. When you clear this thing 5 times and then you go to open your pack and then you just get dimension debris. And you get it 5 times. Oh man, it is painful, boys. It is painful. So getting through Shadowland as quickly as you can to get you some guaranteed gold drop is really good. This guy right here, a good villain, and he doesn't need a uniform. Will his uniform make him a little bit better? Yes, but you are balling on a budget. You are free to play. So uniform is out of the window for you. Human Torch, on my free-to-play account, he is the only uniform that I currently have, right? This one right here. However, even without it, he's a fantastic character, especially if you are new to play. He's going to carry you through those rumbles where you would otherwise struggle because your characters are underbuilt, you don't have enough all attack, you don't have enough cooldown, your ignore defense is low, all that stuff. Medusa, another gem without a uniform, really good survivability, and she has a good leadership. Okay, these are things I'm considering. I am really upset with Netmarble about this one. They pulled Shadow Shell from the Shield Academy. I was hoping she was there permanently. She is a really good physical universal character. It's a very it's a very unique thing because lots of the universal characters are energy based. She's physical, but she's universal, so that's pretty good. She's pretty tanky, and she actually has really decent damage for a character that doesn't have a uniform. Thing, decent for new players even without a uniform. The crazy thing about the Thing is his uniforms have changed him a lot in terms of survivability, but not so much in terms of damage per se, right? And if you have Johnny, having this guy at tier 2 even without a uniform, it's gonna buff Johnny's attack. So just keep that in mind, okay? The Thing, if you're a new player and you get him, or you get a bio sub and you want to use it on him, like a bio selector rather, and you want to use it on him, that's not a bad idea. While you are building up the X-Men from the epic quest, Beast is a good leadership to have, and he can solo a floor. So just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Warpath, I think the big guy is pretty useful. Some of these characters you can get from Dimension shops, but just keep in mind, if you are a new player, you're not gonna have like 2 million Dimension token like me. You're not gonna be able to come in here and just whale out and then get like 400 bios. So you get it when you can, or when you get it from the daily free chests. Bishop, pretty good as well for Shadowland and for low tier PvP when you're down there in the wood leagues. I believe it's called the bronze leagues. He has iframes and stuff, so you can actually get some wins with him. So just keep that in mind if you ever wanted to pick him up from one of your X gene selectors that they rarely ever give out. Okay, he can actually get busy. Moving on, I actually picked up Kid Omega from the free 6-star Mutant selector that they gave away, and he's actually really good. So if you ever get any, I think he's one of the first mutants you should pick up. Angel, you can get from the Dimension. I think for your Dimension tokens, you should ideally prioritize the mutants. I think so, because the other characters you can get from biosubs. I keep saying biosub, but I mean bioselector, right? The other characters you can get from bioselectors, or you can get them from the daily drop from the free chest. Whereas the mutants like Rogue, you can only get them from farming the epic quest or from a mutant selector. So just something for you to keep in mind. Domino is pretty decent for Shadowland. Her base kit, she just flies around and hides in smoke and iframes, and she can actually clear a stage, so not a bad pickup. And we have Phantom X. I think Phantom X is one of the better ones as well. He has healing, he has iframes, he has mind control, so if you want to pick him up, that's not bad. I really like Gorilla Man, even on my main account. Like when he first came out, a lot of people thought he was just a goofy character and they didn't really care about him. My level 7 did him, and I still like him. I still use him literally every single week. A lot of these characters that I'm going to recommend to you on this list, I legitimately use them every single week. I use Gorilla Man depending on what stage I get, either on stage 30 against one of those rumbles or whatever, and then on stage 35 if I feel like just switching it up and using him against Daredevil. I really like this guy's kit. The fact that he can heal and he gives himself an all attack buff, plus he can remove debuffs. I think he's one of the better free to play characters that doesn't have a uniform. Just keep in mind that these characters, you should treat them like building blocks in the foundation of your roster. Most of them you won't remember once you get to endgame, but for now they're very, very valuable. And to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, you don't remember the foundations that hold your house up, but if they're not there, the whole house collapses. Right? So they're useful when you're early on, is all I'm trying to say. Okay? Taskmaster, they give you him for free, so you should definitely build him up and get some use out of him, because even without his tier 2, I can make him work in War Boss and in Shadowland. Okay, then we have War Tiger, pretty decent because he heals and he has high frames. This guy you can chain iframes with. This guy needs to be tier 2, but then once he's tier 2, you get his passive. You can see even on my whale account, I haven't leveled up any of these guys' skills because he's just trash. He's just there to help you do better in War Boss Ultimate. Then we have Vision. Base kit Vision is actually pretty good. Okay, one of the better characters here, and he's about to get his tier 3. Darkhawk, pretty good in my opinion. Very, very good survivability. He's basically another version of Angel. So if you tried out Angel and you like him, Darkhawk, you're gonna like him as well. Viper's survivability isn't the best, but as a free-to-play character that doesn't need a uniform, she gets busy. She does a decent amount of damage, and I use her whenever I want to play Shadowland manually. I use her on like a blast stage or something. All right, next character is Morgan Le Fay. I think she is one of the better free-to-play characters. She has healing, mind control, and a revive. For not having a uniform, this girl has a lot. She also has defense down, so that will help you in like low tier War Boss Ultimate. Dakin is also really good. If you are struggling to clear content as a new player, look for the characters that can heal. That is a pro tip. Look for the characters that can heal themselves, and trust me, most of them will be very, very valuable to you early on. This girl right here, she can chain iframes, so because of that, she's actually pretty good for speed stages in Shadowland. This guy right here has a decent leadership and he has some defense down. Next up, we have Minerva. Obviously, she gets better with her uniform, but with her base kit, she can chain iframes and she actually does quite well. Molten Man is actually really, really, really good. Even to this day, I still have this man at level 60, but I use him so often. And if you're a new player, he's one of the better options. Him and Hydro Man, definitely would recommend building them up. If you get like a 3-star version, just rank them up, man. They're gonna help you. Sandman, also really good. I use him every single week in floor 1 of Shadowland, if you don't believe me. And I do on my main account here, because I have the shield support pack. I use Sandman on floor 1 and I just use autoplay and he just beats it by himself, right? Just saying. And by the way, my cards are not like crafted or nothing, so it's not like the Pierce that's helping me do nothing with him. He's just that good, even on autoplay. Now, Scream is actually pretty good. I picked her up on my new account and I'm gonna invest quite a bit in her because she actually is pretty good, easy to play, and she does decent damage. She-Hulk is kind of trash, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a necessary evil for like War Boss Ultimate. She's gonna help you because most of the bosses are male, and 55% extra damage is really, really good. Now we have Scourge the Executioner. He's not gonna execute much out of Shadowland, but for Shadowland, he's pretty good. Easy to play, and he gets the job done. Next up, we have the Sword Master here. Sword Master, Toy Master. He doesn't hit too hard for War Boss Ultimate once you get past like stage 50, but if you're a new player and you use him in Shadowland, he's actually one of those characters that can do stuff for you. So one of the better ones. Next up, we have Titania. Better than She-Hulk, but her leadership is why I'm putting her here. Obviously, she can clear stages because you can chain iframes and she has immunity and stuff, but I'm putting her here because you need some leaderships as well. This list is primarily to help you get through Shadowland, but getting through Shadowland is not the only thing. You want to be able to clear World Boss and World Boss Ultimate as well to prepare you to get to World Boss Legend. This guy right here, some people might say he doesn't deserve to be on this list, but I've been using Baron Mordo in Shadowland every week since I've had him. If you don't believe me, you can go back to some of my earlier videos in like 2016, 2015. I was using this guy to like solo stages back before I even had good cards, right? It's just that easy to use, right? He dies sometimes if you're not careful, but once you figure out how to use him, he's pretty good. Crystal is kind of like Storm, where you can stun lock people and just keep them completely locked down. Same thing for Hydro Man. Those characters that have a lot of AoE attacks that basically just group enemies together and just stun lock them, they're perfect. And that's why I put this guy here. Even though he's kind of trash, he can buff your Thor for World Boss, and for Shadowland, I use him all the time because he just puts out this bubble that basically just keeps stun locking people until they die. They can't get out. It used to be better, but then they nerfed it, but it's still pretty good. Mantis is like one of the best Shadowland characters you could have because she just puts up this fear dome around herself, and then basically nobody can do anything to her. It's just crazy. So definitely would recommend that you get Mantis. Next up, we have this guy right here, Maximus. If you somehow get him, he's actually not a bad character to work on because he has all these summons, and the summons will just keep stun locking people until you can win the fight. It's really, really good. This girl right here, Cersei, top of the list. I already have her at tier 2 on my free-to-play account. I highly recommend you do the same. She is probably the best character in the game for new players. Her and the Human Torch, you get those two characters, you're doing pretty good, all right? It's a shame they're both blast types because you want to have some type of balance, right? But yeah, she's good. She's really good. Claw is also pretty good as well. It's going to be interesting to see what they do for him when he gets his classic uniform. He can actually do Shadowland as well, and he can give you some support if you need some extra critical damage. As a new player, your card's probably not that good. Your builds are probably not that good across the board. So getting 30% crit damage from him as a passive, probably going to be useful to you in World Boss Ultimate. Then we have Wasp. The only reason to build Wasp is her tier 2 passive, and she can solo a stage, low level stage. Without a uniform, she can still solo a stage. She can like hide in her iframes long enough to clear a blast stage, or rather a combat stage since she's a blast type. Next up is Gwenpool. Gwenpool, they actually require that you build up, I believe, to like 3 stars or something from the Shield Academy, and they do give you some bios for her. So she's actually one that you're probably gonna want to get the 6-star anyways, and then just use her to clear a stage. I use her all the time to clear that annoying stage with Sister Grimm, Sister Grimm, Wiccan, and Lash. She's pretty good for that because she can just chain iframes. This guy right here, not the strongest, but he can actually clear stages as well. Next up is Scarlet Spider. If you are a fan of the spiders, he's gonna be the best one that you have as a new player because of his passive and because of the fact that he just has insane burst damage and he has defense down. So I'm looking forward to using him on my free-to-play account to get some W's. Next up is Scorpion. Mac Gorgon, Big Mac, the Mac truck. He's actually really good. Okay, for Shadowland, Mac gets busy. I use him all the time on like villain stages, and even if he has a type disadvantage, he just still claps them up. Next up is Shuri. Now Shuri, you might be looking at her and you're like, wait, I've never seen this character before. Hold up, let me do that. Boom. So this is the Shuri that you're used to. However, this Shuri is actually still pretty good, and she can clear stages, and she still gives you that 35-25 from her passive for Wall Boss Ultimate. With the uniform, it increases it to 45-35, but you can still get stuff out of her even if you don't have it. Then we have my man right here, Dr. Voodoo, aka Dr. Doodoo, baby. He's good for Shadowland, and he's good for low tier World Boss Ultimate. And his leadership is also something to keep in mind. It's one of those unique leaderships. We don't have too many of them in the game right now. And then we have Robbie Reyes. If you do pull him, keep in mind that this list is just to help you in case you get a character from the daily and you don't know if they're good or not. Robbie Reyes, pretty good. You can chain iframes with him. You can use him on any of those fire stages with what's his name, Agent Venom and Carnage. Okay. All right, lastly is Iron Hammer. I also have this guy already at 6 stars on my main account. He's really good because remember what I said earlier in the video, any character that has native healing, they're characters you should look towards building. He's no different. He has the ability to heal, he can chain iframe, he has immunity, he has a VPAD skill. You might look at him and he looks kind of goofy. If you're coming to the game, you've probably never seen this guy before, but believe it or not, he is from a comic run, and he's a combination of Thor and Iron Man, and he kind of plays like it. So anyways, we're gonna wrap it up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. These are the 60 characters that I would recommend that you look towards building up if you are a new player just trying to get through Shadowland and get through World Boss Ultimate.